Hello and welcome back to the making of the Chapel of Zenith. Today, as you can see, I'm going to be making these candle holder things, as well as the candle, to just finish off the inside of the chapel. So first, let's have a good look at these. And I think the best way to do this is, if we start with it's kind of almost cube-like. I think I'll do just do a sphere. Doesn't need to be 32. I'm going to shrink that down. Probably about 10 should do it. Then I can just go ahead and start editing this. So I'm going to shrink it down a little bit more. To about that sort of size. That's roughly where I want it. So there's 3, so it's kind of 1, 2, and then 1 at the back. So for those, for the legs, I'm just going to do a cylinder. Lines of view, and it definitely does, and again, doesn't need to be 32, so I'm going to bump that down. Probably to about 20, about 19, 20. I think that should be more than enough. And again, shrink that right the way down. And that way we've got a I don't know why that's gone a bit skew-whiff. It's probably because it was in the wrong viewport. That's okay, we can just remake it as a view. It's better. Let me shrink it down again. Just get it into the right sort of shape then, and I can bring it out. Yeah, that looks fine. I'll just select that part here, extrude in, and it's probably going to be better if I do it in side view. Just going to extrude it out, a little bit of a curve on it. So just keep extruding them out, keep rotating, bring them back as well. Just so eventually we get a good shape here. So it's kind of bending the way I want it to. Kind of comes down and then out. So it just brings it out. And I can keep on extruding until I get to sort of this point here where it kind of comes along the floor. So I want to extrude that out again. I'm going to bring that up and out. That's looking okay. Sort these vertices out just a little bit. So I'm just going to come in wireframe mode and go ahead and sort things out that need sorting out. Because that gives it that. So I want it this sort of shape here. I think that looks okay. I'll pop that at the back and then duplicate it. Bring it in. And then just line it up with that there. And now we've got a nice looking shape there. I'm going to squish this down a little bit. I may replace that with a cylinder because I think it just look better. A little bit of a squashed cylinder. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Bring it out a little bit. Make sure that all those are connected. Looking good. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. And then bring these in. So I want it just to cover tops and bottoms. And then this can be the this part here that goes up. We'll just extrude that up. Bring it to just about there. So just bring it out a little bit, bring that up. Just making it not exactly a rounded shape, but almost rounded. I'm just going to get rid of that top face completely at the moment. Just makes it a little bit easier to work with. Bring that in just a little bit more. Extrude that up just a little bit. And then just making these shape. It doesn't have to be completely rounded, but I just want that kind of nice shape to it. Bring that down a little bit. It's almost rounded, but not completely rounded. I think this is the last one. It has to come in to about there. So I want a little bit of decoration on it, but I don't want loads. So this can come right the way up now. It's about there. Just bringing it out. Extruding it. Just keep working my way up. One more, that needs to come in quite a bit. It's about there. And then that can come up again. It just gives it a little bit of decoration here and there. I'm going to bring that right the way up to about here. Bring that out again. It needs to come out a little bit more. And I'm going to extrude it just up just a little bit. This is going to be the very top, so this sort of bit here. And then I'm going to fill that now with this part here selected, so that's selected there. Bring that down, just so it gives it that sort of nice little shape there. Now that is way too elongated, so I'm just going to select that and I'm going to bring that in to make it more rounded. The same for this. Just to bring it in. And then what I need to do is I need to select the top bit, extrude it in, bring it down. And it's starting to look pretty good. So that whole top part, I'm just going to come into this mode and select just these vertices, because they do need to be fairly big. So I'm going to bring them out to there, up again. It looks more like a proper sort of base then. Yeah, that's looking good. I think that still needs to be a bit bigger at the top. So I'll just come back into the top, into my wireframe again, and I'm going to make that a lot bigger. So about there probably. Bring that up. Bring that down. I probably am going to need to add just another line, just so I can make it more bowl shaped. Okay, that's looking better. Excellent. So that may be in a bit too much. This is not a very deep bowl. So I'm just going to bring that to about here. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, now coming out of that completely, I can go ahead and I can make the candle, which is simply just going to be a cylinder. Pop that into place. Make sure it's more or less centered to where I want it. And then I can bring it right the way down. So there's my candle. So I'm going to pop that just in here. Make it a little bit bigger. And it does need to be a lot taller as well. I'm just going to pop that. Make sure it's rounded. And make it a bit taller. About there. Bring that right the way in. Bring it up just a little bit. Then I'm going to extrude that. Extrude that right the way up. Pinch it in at the top. And it needs to be smaller at the bottom as well. So I just select bottom and bring that in as well. Let's put another ring. It doesn't have to be too high poly. So with the selector, I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. So just down. And then this wick can come down a little bit as well. I'm going to name that, when I can find it, I'll name that candle. Because I can reuse that candle then. Let's go on to the altar. And what I want to do is I'm going to select all these. I'm going to join those and then set the origin to 3D cursor. Find it in here. Change it to candle holder. I can get rid of that reference image now. And with this, I'm going to now go ahead and texture. So I'm going to use the bell texture for here because it's kind of like a bronzy texture, which that's the texture I wanted, it kind of bronzed look to it. I may change that actually because I think it'll look better with the metal texture on it. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So just a very, very quick unwrap. Yeah, so that's going to be a bit of a pain. So I'm just going to have to go ahead and probably select these manually, but maybe not. Sometimes the Alt Shift works, sometimes it doesn't. Just go ahead and select these all manually, right the way round. It's quite important to get the texturing right on this. And then I'm just going to select this one, unwrap that. Yeah, that looks good. So it's just a case of going down and unwrapping So I'm going to unwrap this part here as a whole kind of section. So I want all that selected, probably the bottom ones as well. So that whole part selected. Just make sure I've got everything that I want selected. So I'm just going to unwrap that as one big sort of mesh there. So each individual part will be its own kind of mesh. what I will do, I will select the top parts as well for this, because it's part of this kind of ball shape almost. So I will unwrap that and then give it a bit more of a so just select that. I'm going to make that much bigger, just so the texture looks more correct on here. And again, this is going to be textured. And then that way it gets rid of those horrible weird sort of lines on it. It's just where the texture's been tried to kind of unwrap itself when it's been applied to the whole mesh, and it's not worked very well, so we'll just have to go in and do this manually, which does take a little bit of time, but the result looks a lot better than what it currently is. So make sure I've got everything that I wanted, and I'm going to incorporate that small part as well. Just selecting those, unwrap that. It's looking so much better already. Do this section as well. This is why texturing takes so long, because it's all a case of doing this kind of individually, which does take a while. Unwrap that. So not taking that long. We're just getting there to the top part here that I'm going to unwrap separately, because the side doesn't look too bad. I'm not going to worry about the bottom bit. That's fine. That's not. So I'll just do these legs one at a time. And hopefully these shift select continues to work, because it just makes it so much easier. The unwrapping. Go do some of these together. If they're on the same sort of angle, then I'll just go ahead and do them together. Saves a little bit of time. So just go ahead and unwrap the rest of these. Just gives it a little bit of variety. If I no, that one definitely does need to be something. Some of them do need to be separated, because otherwise the texture doesn't look great. Almost done with the candle holder now. So I just continue going down. So this is the last sort of foot leg. So it's before, after. So it looks a lot better than just leaving that horrible sort of weird grey that it's applied to. So I'll just continue and go ahead and finish this off. There we are, and to finish it off, unwrap that as well. Now that's looking a lot better than it was. Okay, now for the candle. So I'm just going to texture that in exactly the same way as I did this. So I'm going to do that off screen, and then I'm going to come back and put them into place. So what I've done, I've actually gone ahead and put the candle holders in place. I've gone ahead and I've textured the candle, as you can see. It's looking pretty good. I've got a good texture with a little bit of wax dripping down, which looks really cool. And I've also put some candles at the base of the altar as well, just to provide a little bit of light. And that's pretty much it so far. So in the next video I'm going to be working on the roof finally. So I'll do the roof tile. Well, I'm going to do the underside of the roof. So I'm going to block this in. Same with this side, and then I'm going to do the tiles and this one as well. And then I shall work on the doors. And then that'll be the chapel pretty much complete then. So I shall see you in the next video.